Hold on. As one crook shake, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker checking in for a daily Move Swiftly thought, giving you a perspective on teamwork you will not get anywhere else. So we do not teach you how to rise to the occasion, folks. We teach you how to fall to your level of preparation. Let me tell you, today was rough. Today was a rough one. As you can see, my headphones are not on because during this 8-mile run, I got caught in the rain. And one of my favorite Kirk Franklin songs was playing, ironically. Melodies from heaven, rain down on me, rain down on me. And then the rain just started raining down, literally. And, when it starts getting that heavy, I have to turn my phone off, so no music. And the headphones. When they finally dried up and cleared up, I guess the headphones went out. So I had no music for the last 3 miles of this 8-mile run, which is actually tough. It's tougher than a lot of people would know. I know runners who need it in the air to motivate, to kind of get themselves out of the fact that they're tired of as hell. You understand that 3 miles without headphones can be rough if you're so used to having them in your ear and getting that motivation to keep going and keep going and keep going. But all that being said, that brings me to today's Top 5 Tuesday. All week, we're talking confidence, not cockiness. Confidence, not cockiness. Yesterday on Make Your Move Monday, we broke down the question of what actually is confidence, that firm belief in yourself, firm belief in something, and you could sense it, you could feel it, and it becomes public over a period of time. That's what real confidence is about. Now, there's a process towards getting to that real confidence, and I'm going to break it down here in a short and sweet way, and then break it down later on the live stream about an hour and a half from this recording. Actually, what I'll do is I'll actually play this too at the beginning of the live stream in case you don't have 35 minutes where I did it yesterday and I kind of liked the way it flowed. So start doing that to start off my live stream shows, just so you know. All right. So anyway, Top 5 Tuesday, top 5 ways to build confidence, not cockiness. Number 1, got to be putting in the work. All right. Got to be willing to show up and put in whatever work is necessary to get whatever results need to be had for you to get whatever role or position or whatever it is you're trying to seek. Got to be willing to put in the work. That's number 1. Number 1A/2, 1B. It's 1A. 1B/2 is putting in the correct work. All right. It's one thing to just work. It's another thing to actually put in the right things, put the right pieces and the right puzzle pieces together, and then work from that place. So putting in the correct work is the difference. All right. Number 3, you cannot listen to those logical thinkers, also known as naysayers, also known as haters, also known as the people who just have given up on developing any real sustainable goals in their lives. So they want to tear everybody else's shit down with their mentality. And here's what I learned this past week is it isn't personal. It's not personal towards the person that actually has the confidence to go and create something. It's on there. All the bullshit's on them. The people who can't be appreciative of a new opportunity that someone else has been given. There's something inside of them that is inherently wrong. So do not think it is a personal attack on you. It is honestly on them and their own shit that they have to work out. And you don't need to be a part of it. You have too much to gain. You have too many things in your future to be thinking about putting any energy into those folks who are trying their best to tear down your shit just because of what you represent. All right. That's number 3. Number 4, those personal results. We just saw an example of it, right? The 8 miles that I said I was going to do at the beginning of the run did not stop because headphones stopped working and the rain just started pouring down. And probably these headphones are probably toasted. They've given me a long run, but when water gets in them, you just never know. So you got to get those personal results just like I did today. And finally, all that step 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It'll put you in this place. 1, 2, 3, and 4 leads me to number 5, which you got to stay ready so you don't got to get ready. So whenever the opportunity comes, whenever it all happens and it's there, it's right there, you're sitting there ready, lock loaded in that ready set position. All right. So to recap, Top 5 Tuesday, top 5 ways to build confidence, not cockiness. Number 1, putting in the work. Number 2, putting in the correct work. Number 3, you got to ignore the logical naysayers. Number 4, your personal results. And number 5, stay ready so you don't got to get ready. All right. All that being said, main website to check out to dive deeper into all my work. It's makeyourmove.com. That's MakeYamove.com. One-stop shop for your teamwork and your self-development needs. As one Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker. Check it out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We
will talk more soon. Oh, I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. I love it. I love it. Can't get enough of it. Good morning. Happy Top 5 Tuesday to you folks out here. You know, I'm kind of nostalgic. I loved it. I'll be talking about this in the morning. I'll do a deeper dive on this in the morning. But the fact that Rich Eisen, one of the GOATs, to me, was somebody who's considered as one of the GOATs in the sports media world, went back after 22 years to host a Sports Center show. I was kind of watching that. I was watching the clips of it to get myself ready for the show and understanding just the long-term effects. When you're behind this microphone, when you're behind a microphone and you have put stuff out there and you've publicly been out there for quite a bit of time, and you've developed comfort behind the microphone, and you know how to engage with an audience, you know how to develop your style, your tone, your pitch, everything. It's such a lovely thing because there's a stickiness to it that's public, that you're getting the full As One Crookshank experience. And that is what the world is starving for now, but is always going to be starving for. Every single person in this world is starving to be with someone who is unapologetically themselves and as authentic as can be, whether you like the person or you do not like the person. The need that you need to fill is to be your mother effing self. All right, be yourself, not perfect. No one's asking you to be perfect around here. We're asking you to be yourself and get around the folks that like you as you, just someone that you just like. All right. And then, obviously the development and all that stuff works when you get around the right folks. And we'll be talking about that actually next week before, I get a lot of stuff done before I actually hit the record button on the show. So I started putting the articles together for next week in terms of what we're going to be discussing when it comes to growth and development, not just growing, but also developing as well, and making sure we're on the same trajectory and we're mixing the two. We're mixing the two. Growth and development, they go hand in hand. Don't just go growing and not developing. All right. I'll just leave it at that for now. So let me just introduce myself to anybody that is new to this channel, new to my world, new to what I'm all about. My name is As One Crookshank. I'm your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division I college football player, and current 5-time, soon to be 6-time published author and educator. I created this whole brand, this whole concept, this whole mindset, this whole way of life that's all about taking the innovative teamwork lessons that you learn on the football field and aligning them with businesses and business owners so they have a staff and or a group of employees that moves just like a championship high school or youth football team. We stay at that level. We want to teach that mentality to your employees. That is what we do in a nutshell over here in the Move Swiftly world. And if you have not yet, so business owners, before we jump in deeper, I started talking about it a little bit, but before we jump in a little deeper when it comes to this week's Top 5 Tuesday and how to develop confidence, all right, there's a process, all right? There's a process to developing real confidence. And as we discussed yesterday, the cocky bullshit, it goes. It comes and goes. There's cockiness, and you can feel the fabrication in the folks that are cocky. Now, the folks that are confident in their shit, listen, they're going to be rolling with or without you. With or without you. Hear me. That's the biggest difference. I'm going to just get that off from jump. They're going to keep on moving with or without you. The train is going to keep on riding. When you're talking to someone that got some confidence in their shit. Now, if you're talking to some cocky dude or cocky person, I don't want to just put it on guys, there's cocky people in general, you will feel the fabrication. You will always see them pointing fingers and this shit ain't done because this person didn't help me do this and this person didn't help me do this. That's the difference right there. So we're gonna break down the process today. It's 5 very easy steps, and you heard a kind of a short, sweet way of me saying it earlier, but I'm gonna do a deeper dive, go over the article and stuff like that, so you guys can pin it somewhere and write it down and make sure it's committed to memory. It's committed to memory. How to move with some confidence versus some cockiness. All right. We're going to talk about it. So before we get there, though, if you have not yet, business owners, go to freeguide.makeyourmove.com. That is free guide.makeyourmove.com. Created a 10-step process that is very, very easy to understand. We work from a very, very simple formula here that's so damn simple, a damn caveman can do it. All right. It's establishing. Now, I'm not going to say it's easy. It's simple to understand, but it's not easy to actually stick to this process on a day in and day out basis. All right. That's the difference. Simple is not the same thing as easy. In fact, that's a like that one. Come on. Now you gotta see how I come up with ideas. Simple versus easy. That might actually be a topic. Simple versus easy. All right. So the formula is establishing measurables plus a professional distance, that creating a productive environment. Those are the three things. You gotta have a solid mix of measurables that are established. What's a person supposed to be doing day in and day out? What are the goals? What are the accomplishments? What is it that they need to get done on a day in and day out basis? Are you keeping a professional distance, or are you friends? Are you happy hour with them? Are you telling them all about your personal life and all your problems and that are going on? Or are you keeping a professional distance to make it know, look, I'm the boss, or I'm the owner, I'm the superior. You're the person that's supposed to listen and do what the hell it is I'm telling you to do. Not in an asshole type of a way, but in a way where it's like, look, if we all want to keep eating, if we all want to pay our bills and keep our check and all that stuff, then there needs to be some structure in place and not just you doing your own thing. That's what I mean when I say professional distance. That leads to a productive environment. When you have productive environments, listen, there'll be a time and a place for you guys to go and have fun and do whatever it is you're going to be doing together and all that. There's nothing wrong with that. The issue is now, are you making it so there's a productive environment established? I mean, there's a professional distance established enough so you can actually enjoy those things. That's what we get started with. All right. So we're going to, it's a 10-step process for you to get the free guide. Next thing. Football is here. You saw my Washington Commanders last night. Huge. Two teams I root for, like diehard fans, like psychotic, even like beyond, like to the point where I'm watching those two teams, and the next 3 hours I'm locked in. It's the Michigan Wolverines and the Washington Redskins, all right, also known as now the Washington Commanders. Those two teams, I watch those two teams, and everything shuts down. Everything shuts down. Everything shut down. They were the two teams. Now I played all the way till college. So they were the two teams that I was never going to be good. And I had to accept that very early, or like in the peak of my career. Like when I got to high school, I had to accept the fact that I was never going to be good enough to play at Michigan. And I was never going to be good enough to play for the Washington Redskins. Those were the two teams that I've had to be a fan of. It wasn't a business I had to be a fan of. All right. But anyway, all that being said, I'm just putting it out there now because I have found a location to host my own college football show. We'll be starting that Labor Day weekend. However, there's a virtual component that anybody from anywhere can be a part of. It's something called the weekly scenario. The weekly scenario. So put your email in, and we'll send you a weekly scenario that's going to show you the similarities between what college football is all about and how it can actually help you run your business. All right. If you really pay attention to some of the decisions that they have to make, some of the things that they have to do, that's going to be for the betterment of the team. All of that stuff runs in the same direction. They're like parallel to your business. So join the weekly scenario, get the emails or the text or however you want to do it every single week. And, we'll be doing a lot of engaging things so you can, really align yourself. And this is big for even anybody that's not even necessarily into college football like that. My role, what I do, the superpower, the code that I've cracked is to translate the game of football to a person that knows nothing about it and just merge the two. So that person who knows nothing about it is now improving in their business because they've been able to learn some of the ins and outs of the game because of your one and only Move Swiftly speaker. That's the code we've cracked around here. All right. So it's weeklyscenario.makeyourmove.com. That is weeklyscenario.makeyourmove.com. And finally, our favorite people, the people I call you guys my favorite every single day here, are the folks out there who say, look, bump all this free stuff you're talking about, Aswan. Who do I got to pay? Let me know where I got to put my money, where my mouth is. Where do I pull out my credit card? Tell me who and what and how I got to pay, because I love your energy. I want you to bring that energy to my staff. I want you to some of this to rub off on my staff, so they are on it every single day. I love you guys. You guys are my favorite kind of people to work with. Non-bullshit people, no nonsense kind of people that just want to get shit done, right? MakeYourMove.com is the website for all of that. It gets shop right there. You can see what the employee development workshops are all about. We can get you on some sort of a payment plan. I do offer boxing sessions as well. There's Wintrepreneur teas. There's all sorts of things on the shop. And the main thing, however, is to book a meeting with me. Here it is. Here's pretty much it in a nutshell. All right. So turn your business into a championship team. It is common knowledge that the best way to win in business or in life is by avoiding ways to lose. Whether you've just started a new business or you've been in business for quite some time, there is no getting around the need to hire or outsource certain elements of your organization so things can run as efficiently as possible. When you book your meeting with Osborne, he'll diagnose what the issues are with your current system and then strategically create a system in which will lead to a reduced amount of turnover or a clear understanding of the parts of your business that need to be outsourced. Boom, bang, wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. That's what you'll be getting when you make the decision, hey, tired of losing so much money on turnover. I need a system in place that's going to keep people around, and I need to get it done now because there's too much damn money I'm losing when I keep replacing employees. It costs a lot to replace employees. All right. There. All right. Here we go. Now to today's top 5 list. And the interesting thing about the top 5 Tuesdays, and again, I'm approaching 2 years straight of doing a top 5 list of some sort every single Tuesday. And it just the fact that one of the goats in our business, Mr. Rich Eisen, did a top 10. So the last night, if you caught, I didn't watch SportsCenter. I just caught it this morning. And, nowadays the clips go on YouTube. So YouTube is the new TV. So if you miss the SportsCenter live, totally fine. It's not like it was when it started, where you have to be at your television set at that particular time and watch SportsCenter for the recap or anything like that. It's a completely different world when it comes to media and the way people are consuming their material now. And I did actually, if you can recall, a couple of weeks ago, I actually talked about this. I'm not sure if the thumbnail is still there. Let's see. It might be there. Yes, I think I did talk about it when we discussed public alignment. I took the thumbnail down, but I discussed public alignment. All right. And for years, again, Rich Eisen was one of the originators of SportsCenter. He goes off to NFL Network, and then he goes on and does his own thing with the Rich Eisen Show. And now the Rich Eisen Show was streaming, I believe, on Roku and a bunch of different places. But the Rich Eisen Show now is back on ESPN, and he was able to do kind of a reunion type SportsCenter as a way of promoting the fact that his show is back on ESPN and all that stuff. Again, go do the research. You guys can go look at it. However, the one thing that you should be asking as a business owner, what you should be taking away from this, is the fact that nobody actually goes and watches a SportsCenter anymore, right? They don't go and watch it. What they watch is for the top 10 plays, right? There's a sense there that they know, hey, there's going to make a SportsCenter top 10. So now they've been able to integrate, right? They've been able to integrate when you're watching a game. Or you're doing a highlight, you start to see, when you're watching on sports, and you start to see the little graphic come up. Oh, that's a top 10 nominee, right? And they got free advertising in certain movies. I remember actually one of my favorite movies, Love and Basketball, where Quincy McCall was talking to his dad. He goes, up and under with team, 2 defenders with the left. Man, that's gotta make SportsCenter. So they're getting free advertising because they're known as, hey, this is the thing. This is our staple. This is the thing that we do. This is the thing that we do that sets us apart from all the other sports shows. And then you had First Take come over, and it was Stephen A's top 5 list, or like instead of just an A list, it's like Stephen A's top list, and they give the list, and then people react to it, and they give their thoughts, what they would improve, what they would improve, what they would take out. All of that stuff led me to say, hold up. I got to get mine on. I got to do my thing now. So every single Tuesday, it's a top 5 Tuesday of some sort, because of the folks that I've seen and I've grown and I've learned from as I was developing my own tone and my own style. Like, and that's the mentality. And that this is I'm telling you all this because I'm living proof example of how you develop real confidence, not the cocky bullshit. All right, the confidence to go out and do what it is you need to do. There is a step-by-step process that very few people are actually committed to doing and seeing full out. All right. And that's the base. I have to give you that baseline before I started the article today. So here it is. Top 5 Tuesday, how to develop confidence, not cockiness. All right. Another top 5, another Tuesday, another top 5. As we close in on 2 full years of consistent top 5 Tuesday breakdowns, today's edition stays aligned with this week's theme, confidence, what it looks like, how to develop it, and most importantly, how to distinguish it from cockiness. Let's start with a line from one of my favorite MCs. I'm not cocky, I'm confident. So when you tell me I'm the best, it's a compliment. I mean, listen, man, that song came out when I was in, I believe, high school. I was in high school when that song came out. It was a big, for those of you who listen to rap like that, it's a big rap beef between the originator of the song. The song is by Ja Rule. So 50 Cent was a big rapper back then. Ja Rule comes on this track with Jadakiss and Fat Joe, and kind of comes back at 50. This was middle school, high school age B. So bear with me for a second. But anybody else born in 89 or the early 90s and all that, you understand what I'm saying. But there was this big thing between Jay-Z and 50 Cent, and not Jay-Z, but Ja Rule and 50 Cent. And Ja Rule comes on this track with Jadakiss and Fat Joe. And it's like, these are New Yorkers now. These are some of the legends in the game. And then Jadakiss drops this line. And I'm not cocky, I'm confident. So when you tell me I'm the best, it's a compliment. So that line went viral. That was like a big deal when I was in high school. Like there was everybody was saying that in the football world, to where they didn't like, there was a difference between cockiness and confidence, and you can feel it. You can feel the fact that Jadakiss broke it down, the way he broke it down, it made a lot of sense to a lot of people. In fact, I remember Cam Newton, when Cam Newton won the Heisman. It was the year he won. Shout out to Cam Newton, by the way. He was getting his jersey. He's going to be getting his jersey retired this year, I believe the 11th or something like that. I saw that announcement. He's going to be get his jersey retired at Auburn. But anyway, so Cam Newton was doing an interview with Deion Sanders this was back when Primetime was working with NFL Network. And Cam Newton was asked, so they were doing like a sit down with Primetime, and this is when he was at NFL Network, a really great sit down, right? And Primetime made he kind of put it out there. He goes, I could see why some people sitting on outside the camera don't like you. They think you all that. They think you just know it all, right? And then Cam Newton goes, yeah, it's confident, not cocky. It's confidence, not cockiness. It's confidence. Why is it confidence? What makes the confidence something that is easily detectable and not the cockiness, right? Here we go. The difference is everything. Cockiness is surface level, loud, and usually forced. Ooh, this is big. Okay. Cockiness, surface level. It is surface level, loud, and usually forced. Confidence, on the other hand, is rooted in work. It is the byproduct of systems, of progress, of clarity, of goals, and how to reach. Let's talk about the top 5 ways to build it. And as I normally do, I use myself as an example quite a bit over here on this show. So, I'm not just talking. Okay. This is actually stuff I've lived through. So number one way to develop confidence, not cockiness, is you got to be willing to do the work. Take a sip of water so you guys let it sit in. Period, point blank. That's the baseline. You got to be willing to do the work. You got to be willing to do the work. For the people all the way in the back of the congregation, you got to be willing to do the work. This one's a non-negotiable. All right. If you're not willing to do the work, you can forget about ever developing any confidence. All right. When I was coming up as a football player, the biggest knock on me wasn't my effort or my toughness. All right. It was my lack of speed and athleticism. So every night before I went to bed, I head outside. I'd run 10 hill sprints up the road in front of our house. Didn't matter if it was raining, snowing, or if I was sore. I got the work in. You want confidence, you need repetition, period. Every single night. I might have said this on, if you're a regular, so I'm pretty sure I've mentioned it before, but I'm going to re-emphasize it because this was every single night. Grew up in Maryland, so there were nights it was really, really cold outside. Wake your ass up, put a sweater on, do something, get outside and run those 10 sprints every single night. If you're not willing to do the work, and again, you're talking about somebody who athletically, Division 10 athletically, Division 3 is the worst, all right? But so how is a guy who was a Division 10 type athlete able to make a SCS program, make the travel squad, and go play Division I football and earn a first team all conference, go look it up, all the accolades that I got in high school and where I ended up playing. How does the guy who really wasn't that great of an athlete like that, really wasn't that strong like that, was willing to put in the work and show up every single day? That's what all of that stuff is mental. All that stuff is mental. All right. So willing to do the work is how you have to operate. If you're not willing to do it, you got a problem. Here's the difference now. Here's the difference. There's a subtle difference now between 1 and 2, because 1, yes, you got to be willing to do the work. But number 2, you got to know the correct work. All right. Knowing which work is the right work to do. There's a difference. There's a big difference. Now, this more so is for the folks out there who are busting their ass and they're trying their best. They really are trying their best, but they're not seeming to get to the results that they want. And it's because they're going in the wrong direction. You're working your ass off doing one thing, but it's not leading you to the result of the other thing. All right. So again, I'll use myself as an example. I'll use myself as an example. Work ethic is great. I'll just read it directly, actually. Work ethic is great, but working smart that's different level. Back then, as a player, as a high school football player who played linebacker, all right, back then, the correct work would have been cross-training in other sports, boxing, track, basketball, anything to develop coordination and agility. I speak on this in my second book, Make Your Move, where I break down how exposure to the right environments unlocks the version of you that already exists. Willingness gets you started, but the knowledge takes you further. So if you're going to use me as an example, instead of going outside every day and running 10 hill sprints, like I tell my nephew now, man, that should have turned into actually boxing lessons during the season, right? That should have been me deciding that I was going to make sure I played basketball, or at least tried out for basketball, do something in the off season and do more track and stuff like that. That would have been the correct work, that crossover training. And I've said this before, and I'll probably repeat it quite a bit, especially since football season is here, is the best thing you can do if you want to get recruited to play at the collegiate level is go play other sports like lacrosse, something where you're working your other coordination, where you're doing other things, and make football your number one sport, or whatever sport you want to make your number one sport, but make sure you're doing other sports to develop your overall athleticism. That's what I did. That's the mistake I made. Anybody that's a thought leader out there now will tell you that they're only talking about stuff that they should have done back when they were coming up. So listen, our real thought leaders have owned up to the mistakes that they made, and they're willing to speak on it, because that just saying the mistake and putting it out there, that's going to lead to somebody else not making that mistake. All right. So 1 and 2 really move in the same direction. You got to have a solid swoop with 1 and 2, willing to put in the work, and then really have the humbleness to know what the correct work actually is. All right. Now, number 3 and 4, they're moving in the same. They're kind of similar to 1 and 2, where again, it could have been 3A and then 3B, basically. Number 3, ignoring logical thinkers. Yes, you read that right. You have to tune out the logical thinkers, also known as naysayers. All right. So logical thinkers are dressed up as what most like to call haters. All right. What you hear out there all the time, where it's like, oh, I got a hater, this person's a hater. Yeah, they're real people that actually hate. But the way they dress up their hate is they call themselves logical thinkers, and they come up with reasons. They're really good at it. All right. They're really good at coming up with bullshit reasons that show that they are actually hating the fact that somebody else is doing well because they don't have shit going on. The shit is not moving according to their plan in their own life. Be very aware of these people. All right. Be very, because they're just really damn smart. They're really smart, and they use whatever they can. They use whatever they can to sabotage somebody else doing something greater, somebody else actually being productive. This is what they do to keep themselves in a comfort zone. I can literally just stop everything and just talk about this example for hours upon hours upon hours upon hours upon hours, because it's so prevalent and it's so ingrained in the psyche of most people. Most folks would rather be just simply told what to do it, get their money, and then go home to whatever comforting lifestyle that has been sold to them, and they bought that dream. Life doesn't work like that. Life doesn't work in a way where, you know, you're just going to be happy with the status quo. It's going to be, listen, I'm either growing today or I'm dying today. I get the opportunity to pick the two. So logical thinkers, the people that call themselves logical thinkers, this is the kind of bullshit that they're on. All right. Now, hear me, because I'm reading directly from the article, because again, the reason that they're really good, and sometimes for some people it can be really hard to detect these folks, is because these are folks who do mean well. They do mean well for the overall vision. They mean well, but secretly can't envision your growth because they've stopped trying to grow themselves. They rely on logic, stats, and tradition to justify the limitations, and they try to apply those same limits to you. If you don't tune them out early, they'll have you doubting yourself before you even get started. Straight up, point blank, end of sentence. All right. If you don't know how to tune out the quote unquote logical thinkers that have stopped developing and stopped growing and stop trying to create opportunities for themselves, then before you know it, hey, you become one of them. So stay, and again, next week we'll dive deeper into all of this, but stay away from those logical thinkers who are deciding. They made a conscious decision not to keep going, not to keep growing. They're really okay with the status quo. There's something fundamentally that they got to work out that you can't fix, all right? Because you're not Jesus Christ. You're not God, all right? You can't fix what's fundamentally broken in this person. You got to let it go and keep moving, because it's going to be the best thing for the organization. Hear me, folks. I get very passionate about this point. Hear me. They got to fix whatever's broken inside of them in order for you to keep, in order for you to keep moving. You can't go about trying to fix their bullshit. That's on them. They got to figure it out. Next thing, personal results. Number 4, personal results. Confidence becomes unshakable when you start seeing your own data. This right here is the issue. This is how you are able to ignore the quote unquote logical thinkers. You start seeing personal results. When you start seeing your own data, right, your own shit, and you start really calling yourself out on certain things and say, man, I should have did better with this. I should have did better. I could have had a better. When you start really locking in on your own data, then the naysayers and all those kinds of people, they just slowly but surely just move away, right? That's why in my first book, Swiftly, Your Guide to Innovative Teamwork, I end with an activity that encourages you to track your wins daily for the next 365 days. That concept has also inspired our 30-day plus business bundle for entrepreneurs looking to track growth in a focused, structured way. When you can literally look back and say, I've done this, it removes all doubt. Again, all of that is available on makeyourmove.com. Now, number 5, because we're running low on time here. Number 5, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4 all lead to number 5. Be ready now. Now, right now. Final point, stay ready so you don't got to get ready. Too many people wait for an opportunity to appear before they begin preparing. By the time it comes, it's too late. Confidence is about being ready now. So there's no scrambling when the moment arrives. When preparation becomes your lifestyle, confidence becomes your identity. Say it to them now. Say it to them. When preparation becomes your lifestyle, confidence becomes your identity. You can smell it on a person. It's just oozing, right? It's oozing out of them because preparation is the lifestyle. you've put it in your mind. You said, I'm going to prep for this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make sure this is taken care of. Make sure that is taken care of. Then there's a confidence when people are talking to you. It's like, look, that's a guy that has some assertiveness. That's a guy or a woman that has some assertiveness, that has some clarity, that has some understanding about what they're doing every day. And because they prepping day in and day out, they're prepping and prepping and prepping and prepping. So the minute they get a call about whatever it is they need to get done or whatever this opportunity comes up, hey, I was ready, born ready for this. This is what we do. All right. So again, all that being said, let me close out with the final word to recap. All right. Just a quick recap here. Top 5 Tuesday, top 5 ways to develop confidence, not cockiness. Number 1, be willing to do the work. That's it right there. Got to have that. That's the common denominator in all this. If you don't have that, don't expect anything major to happen for you in your life. Number 1, got to be willing to do the work. Number 2, willing to do the correct work, the humbleness for somebody who's been where you're trying to go to teach you, hey, you're doing the great work. I love the job you're doing, but got to do it like this, man. Think about doing this. Think about think about your situation. Think about the folks that have been there and done that. They're willing to teach you how to do the correct work. All right. It's one full swoop. I'm willing to grind, but I got to make sure I'm learning from somebody that's been there so they can teach me how to grind. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. All right. So that's again, I like how I said that. So anyway, number 3, ignore the logic. Ignore the logical thinkers out there. They're very, very good at what they do. They're very, very good at putting fear and doubt and creating anxiety in your own life and creating things in your own life that'll make you not pursue whatever it is you're trying to pursue. They're out there, and there's a natural way of thinking that's kind of a natural direction for a lot of people to go. Number 4, track your wins, not for applause, but for assurance. You need the assurance that you can get it done because you've tracked it. And then finally, number 5, stay ready so you don't got to get ready. That opportunity comes your way, you in that ready, set position, ready to throw your jab, ready to throw your hook, ready to throw your knockout punch across. All right. All that being said, tomorrow we're going to be talking about how to teach this. This is a teachable thing. You can teach this to young people. All right. We're going to talk about how to teach this to teens. All right. I have a lot of experience teaching this to teens, and we're going to be diving into how to teach this type of thinking to young teenage minds that are very sooner than we all think, right, are going to be the leaders of our society. So stay tuned for that. Again, main website to check out to dive deeper into all the work I'm doing and what I'm all about. It's makeyourmove.com. That is makeyourmove.com. Your one-stop shop for all your teamwork and your self-development needs. As one Cruikshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker. Checking out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.